Asia is the most populous region in the world, but it's as well the region where economic growth over the last years have been very rapid. If we look at figures in 2010, the middle class within that part of the world was around below 500 million people. This is growing to 2.53 billion over the next 15 years. This means significant rapid changes in terms of consumption patterns as this emerging middle class comes up. So innovation is going to be the critical aspect to fuel and strengthen Asia's growth.
You have two Asias essentially. You have urban Asia, so developed Asia, and emerging Asia. In emerging Asia, you have a lot of talent, a lot of potential, just a lot of people interested in capturing this market, as well as a lot of new entrepreneurs getting more sophisticated, getting more interested in building businesses to feed this emerging market.
Both Switzerland and Singapore are very supportive in terms of development of new businesses. Switzerland has a long tradition of interaction between university and startup companies. I think that here in Singapore the same type of spirit is also being built, so there are a lot of similarities. What I found also very interesting here is high interest for innovation.
Singapore is obviously a very interesting place for Swiss startups to gain visibility and to reach out to the Asian markets. Many MNCs have chosen Singapore as a regional hub. There are a number of incentives here in Singapore from the government. There is obviously a high intellectual property protection, English as a language which is very helpful. Another advantage of Singapore is obviously its geographical strategic location at the crossroads in Asia between India and China and in the heart of Southeast Asia. We can, in one single event, set up a platform which we hope is conducive to actually allow the entrepreneur to meet a potential investor, a government representative who can indicate which type of incentives the Singapore government is giving to set up business, or an R&D partner or a potential customer.
Definitely we have more and more startups in Singapore. Also some successful exits. A few months ago, a company called Vicky was acquired by Rakuten. So this is very huge exit, around like 200 million USD. Also just in front of INSEAD, we have a building, Block 71. It's full of startups, around like 200 startups, plus some venture capitalists, people who invest in startups are also located in the same building.
All fingers were pointing at Singapore. It appears to be the Asian hub. It's also a very good connector for a lot of countries. So we've found a lot of startups have been able to fly into Singapore and to attend the event. So we've had startups from Hong Kong, we have startups coming from Thailand, and because it's a nice connector, they can fly and attend the events.
We saw a very strong interest about e-commerce through our students and also what is happening in Singapore. There's a lot of startups in the e-commerce field. One of the most successful should be the Red Mart's online grocery. But you have also a lot of startups in the travel industry, especially in Singapore. You are just in the middle of Southeast Asia, a very beautiful place to travel.
You have other kinds of businesses that target a bit more of the basic needs of emerging Asia. Singapore government is a catalyst for investors and investment. Basically, people with much experience to come in here to mentor the scene. It basically gives Singapore entrepreneurs some faith, and experience to tap onto. Taking in terms of nanotech, life science, and stuff like that, Singapore, we have put a lot of resources into the biotech fields. So that's something that has always been an investment point for Singapore.
Nanotechnology is huge in Asia in general. And we know that Asian countries invest a lot in nanotechnology research, so that's definitely a huge market for us.
One of the areas where Singapore still seems to have some challenges, and that's where we see that kind of space for Swiss companies to partner and work in consortium with Singaporean companies, is to turn ideas into actual products.
In this innovation-driven and technology-based Singapore, there is actually quite a number of opportunities for entrepreneurs coming from Switzerland. And Swissnex is happy to support the entrepreneurs together with our partners like the Singapore ETH Center, St. Gallen University, IMD, in a variety of formats, either entrepreneurs events or entrepreneurs camps to be created, hopefully an incubator or even an intellectual property book which may help to understand better the local entrepreneurship scene.
Swissnex can really help to set up an event to get to know people, and for a young startup based in Switzerland, it's very difficult to do that on their own, so do contact Swissnex.